Welcome to The Teach, where we are going to go through Who Goes There, a 3 to 6 player game filled with intrigue and building suspense. In Who Goes There, we are Antarctic explorers who have discovered an alien race that has been frozen in the Antarctic. We bring them back to the base and suddenly they are no longer suspended. And we are now trying to race against time and escape from the devilish thing trying to consume us all. You win the game as a human by escaping on the helicopter with enough points to navigate and get away from the thing without bringing them with you. As the thing, you are trying to get on the helicopter with another human so that you have something to eat on that long helicopter ride out. I love Who Goes There because it's a building suspense game that starts off with everyone as human, but then slowly introduces a bit of intrigue and fascination. So why don't you join us at the table and we'll play Who Goes There. In Who Goes There, the game is divided into rounds and sequences. Each round will see the progress marker steadily moving up through more and more challenges. The game slowly gets harder as the Arctic frozen tundra gets colder. The more we explore and the more we go outside, the more stamina it takes us to survive. In each round, we'll have the pre-sequence, which goes through a series of steps. First, we will progress the marker up. Then we'll resolve any eat or sleep actions at the start of that round. The temperature then drops, and based on where we are, that players outside will lose that much stamina from their player board. So if I was outside when this occurred, I would lose 2 stamina. We then flip a camp event and resolve it. And it's important to note that there are 4 different types of camp events. So we've got the blue setbacks, we've got the red attacks, we've got the yellow cautions, and we have the green instance. We will then get to roll on our turn or as an instant, resolve the camp event individually or together based on the card we reveal. That can be done during some players' turns or in the case of an instant, immediately. We then move into the player turns. Based on their player board and how many actions they have, they will get to do one of various actions. They can either spend an action and move to another location, whether that's outside or inside. It's important to note in the movement, once you've moved inside or from inside to outside, you can't do that movement again, but you can move between locations inside or outside as you wish. It still costs an action unless you have an upgrade, which we'll go into in more detail later. The next one is a search action. Based on where you are located, you could search the deck that you are on. The only variance to this, if you are inside, you can search the location you're on or your inside locker, your room. This is your unique cards that only you will have. Some of them cross over, but for a reference, looking at your player sheet will give you that understanding. So let's have a quick look at what is in each deck. On the outside deck, you could potentially cause door damage, you can find upgrades to help you escape, you could get attacked by the thing, or you can find special bonuses. And this repeats all the way through, and you can see more and more upgrades, thing attacks, or door damage. Once you've resolved that, if it's a action, it will go into your play area and that counts as a bonus to the end. Everything else gets discarded to the discard. Door damage is applied to the door as such. If 3 strikes occur, follow the instructions that are enlisted below. This game has instructions all over the place, and as you're searching, you can even get experience. So if I searched once, I'll get 2 experience that I can spend on upgrading in later steps. Another action you can do is receive from another player, and this is an action you could do at any time on other people's turn or on your own. Simply spend the 1 to get the card from another player. So for instance, if I had a whole bunch of cards in my hand and I need to receive something from someone else, I would spend that action and I'd get to roll the dice. And it's an important note that if they have a vulnerability card, which we'll touch on soon, we're trying to avoid interaction with them. Social distant world, we are familiar with trying to stay away from people, but in the thing world, we are more cautious and careful. If you get a success, you don't need to see their player title. But if you get a failure and you don't manage to do it, they will actually pass you a token, either saying that they're clear or infecting you with the thing. You then will take that tile, and if you didn't get the success, you will flip that over, and now you are also secretly the thing. Or if they pass you a green, everything is okay, continue play as normal. Make sure always when receiving a token that you reset back to 0 and put it face down. Other actions that you can play on your turn, including gain stamina, so you can spend one action and to roll, and if you get a success, you're gaining one of your exhausted stamina back into your play area. If you are outside, you cannot do the gain stamina. Instead, you do gain XP, and once again, you roll. If it's a success, then you get an XP onto your board. Searching, very useful, but that costs 2, whereas gaining XP is a chance, and it's not automatic. You can also repair the boiler or the camp door based on the number of strikes they have, and you do 1 to roll it, or you can spend 2 to guarantee removing that action. Each deck is slightly different, each player's deck is different, and make sure you understand some of the different components that can live within there. So in the top, you can actually see the storage room will always have buildables, matches, alcohol, items that you can upgrade, or consumables. Whereas the workshop has all of the materials and buildables that you need in order to create objects. And this gets into the upgrades and objects. On your player board, you can spend XP based on the requirement of that upgrade. Within that upgrade, if I was to spend my 3 XP that I currently have, my handgun would flip over, and now I can use bullets at any time. All the different upgrades are slightly different for each player, so make sure you read through the player's upgrades and what is available. You also have these item sheets, and this is a double-sided building, and you're building different items and weapons and utilities to enable you to do different things. There's scarves, coats, pouches, guidelines, and even various weapons. So make sure you have a look through and understand what they mean. Now we've gone through various aspects of the game. 2 things that we do want to touch on is the bonfire, and it has the instructions conveniently located next to it. Placing 5 items or more in there and then lighting it on fire gives everyone inside 2 stamina, and it also rejuvenates any frostbite you might have. As we go through, we're going to be taking damage, and if at any time you get 3 strikes, you are unconscious. Every turn that you stay unconscious, at the end of your turn you don't take any actions, but one of those will flip over to frostbite. Get 3 frostbite and you are dead and out of the game. It is important to note that the first aid kits and food will not heal frostbite. The only way to heal frostbite is by being inside when the bonfire is lit. You'll also notice that there are critical strikes. At the end of every turn, even if you have no other damage, the end of every turn with a critical strike, if you have not resolved that critical strike, you will get another strike. So it's in your best interest to use a first aid kit or get some healing to remove that critical strike as soon as possible. The last thing to go over is actually the vulnerability cards. And these are the crux of the game. As I said at the start, every player is human to start with. At any stage, if you're unable to fight the thing or lose, or if you are unable to resolve a camp event, or if the door busts open and you're unable to maintain it, or if you can't eat something, or if you can't sleep with someone, you will have to draw a vulnerability card. All of these cards are empty. They are clear. You are no longer infected, with the exception of one, which is the Thing card. And this is the first human player to become the Thing. It is important to note that when you draw these cards, they are hidden. Only you get to see what card you have. Protect those cards and hide them so no one else can see them, because that is your secret move. You cannot show these to anyone unless you have a test, in which case a card will dictate what you are meant to do in terms of showing. Are you showing them your card, or are you showing them your token? If at any stage all of the cards are out, you know someone is the Thing. And anytime you are instructed to draw a card from the deck, you will instead take a damage. The only exception to this rule is if you were to get a Thing attack and fail, you still only get one strike, not a strike for the card and a strike for drawing. That would just be too brutal on anyone. So losing to the Thing when there are no cards left is still just one strike, but at any other time, if you are instructed to draw from the pile, you will then instead take a strike if it's empty. This plays through a series of rounds all the way to the end. You'll notice that there are grey tiles on there. If you are trying to play a shorter game, those grey tiles can be skipped to speed up the game a little. It is worthwhile skipping that on your first couple of playthroughs. Not only will it make it longer, it'll actually make it a lot harder for everyone. And that is our teach for Who Goes There. Make sure you join us on our social media channels. We are going to be playing this live on Twitch, and we've also recorded a special drink at the board game bar to pair specifically with this game. So make sure you give those videos a look, and also if you are free, join us on Twitch to watch the game of Who Goes There. Thank you for joining us at the table, and we see you in the next video. Bye.